بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He mentioned in Surah Al-Yusuf, in the first verse, He said, Alif Lam Ra, Tilka Ayatul Kitabil Mubin. These are verses of the clear book. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He brings these particular verses to Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam so that he can recite them to this ummah. These verses are very clear. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He made the Qur'an in such a way that it is clear. The legal and the illegal things, they are very clear, mentioned in the Qur'an. Legal laws, the guidance, the blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they are all mentioned very clear in the Qur'an. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He revealed the Qur'an to us so that we can get the guidance. We can understand how to solve different kind of problems we have in our lives. Because this world, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He make it to be a place whereby it will be surrounded with full of trials and the test. The problems are surrounding us day and night, but where to find the solution for these particular problems? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He wants us to look at the Qur'an. Because Qur'an has been brought with a clearance. And if you want to understand what is the right path and the wrong path, you just look at the Qur'an and you will see it. Today we have, for example, in the society, we have the problem with regard to the issue of intimacy, with regard to the issues of social interaction between people. We have these problems in our societies. But what is the solution to that? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He brought the solution in the Qur'an. Why do we have the cases of let's say zina in our society? Why do we have the cases of homosexuality, lesbianism in our societies? Why do we have the cases of rape in our society? All of these cases, in one way or another, have been addressed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from the Qur'an. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He wants us to go back in the Qur'an and learn what happened to the people who came before us. They were practicing these things. For example, if we look at Qawm Lut, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He said what these people they were doing. And everyone understands the case of Qawm Lut and what happened to the people of Qawm Lut. But at the end of the day, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He provides the solution to the society. Many of the problems, when it comes to the institution of marriage, many of the problems are solved in the society. And that's why Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he declared principles when it comes to marriage. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He make it to be the sunnah which will protect the society from different kind of dangers and problems. But the moment people decided to stay far away from the Qur'an and think that they know better more than what they can get from the Qur'an, that's where the problem starts. We have the solution of everything. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He has guided us in different ways in the Qur'an in order to get the protection, the blessing and the mercies from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But the problem we have today is that we are people who doesn't pay much attention to the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And these are the objections we have. These are the challenges we have in our life. Today when we look at the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, what do we see? Do we see the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? The way they are supposed to be observed? Or we just see the words which have no meaning or no impact in our life? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He said, this is the book which Allah, He revealed with the clearance. And if people, they are going to follow what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala He revealed in this book, they will be guided to the truth. And you know what will happen to the people who are guided to the truth. They will be under the blessing, the mercies and the protection from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this is the call to each one of us, all of us, who declared to be Muslims, who say that we have submitted our lives in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to obey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the Messenger, Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, to follow the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala the way it's supposed to be followed. And once we put that into action, we will see what will happen to our lives. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He will bring His blessings, His protection, His mercy in our lives. So this is something that each one of us should take note of. And if we want the problems we have in our societies, from the individual level to the society level, to be solved, let's go back to the Qur'an. Let's look in the Qur'an what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala He wants us to do. And let's do it with the 100% firmness in our belief that these are the solution, concrete solutions. There will be no other alternative than what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned in the Qur'an, no matter how we look at them. Do we look at them as the solutions which are outdated, or we look at them as the solutions, of the people who are not civilized, but they will remain to be the only solutions, which will be the solutions to each and every problem we have in our life. And Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he explained them in detail, and he showed them in his sunnah, in his actions. And the companions of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they understood them, they implement them in their lives. Let's learn from these people, and inshallah we will emerge as victorious in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Tilka ayatul kitab al-mubin. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, this is the book which contains within it clear verses. Let's go back to this book. We will see the clearance, and we will be able to be protected from the doubts which are surrounding us in our daily life. Jazakumullah khairan, brothers. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guide us and protect us. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us to be among of those who understand His book. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us to be among of those who put it into action, His verses, according to the way instructed and implemented by the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam.